Good evening. It's 8 o'clock, and that means it's time for Wealthy You Wind Down. I'll give everyone a few minutes to just come on in, and when you do, just state your name and let me know where you're coming from. So, good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's see. It's 8 o'clock. What is everyone up to today? Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Joyce, you're in and you're hanging, huh? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All right, I think I've got the technology working. That's a good thing. And in your Facebook feed, if you see I'm broadcasting from Ecamm Live, or it asks you to connect your Facebook, if you'll do that, then I'll be able to see who you are. If not, if you post it and let me know where you're from. Hey, Symphonia, great chatting with you this week. I am so excited. So, also, it's Wealthy You Wind Down. So, that means get your favorite glass of vino. So, I am drinking let's see if I can remember. It's definitely Cabernet Sauvignon, and I think it is a Louis Martini, and that the year is 2017. Not that I'm a sommelier or anything. This is all about fun. So you could get your favorite glass of wine. You could get your what adult beverage. If you're not imbibing at all, you can get a glass of water. But this is about having fun this evening. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I was not on last night and I broke my record because I have been on straight. This is my fifth week. But I actually had to get on the hot seat for one of my personal coaches, and they gave me some great feedback just around some of the things that we're planning. Of course, you guys know we just had the master class, so I got to shout out and talk about all my wins and how the women came and they stayed for 7.5 hours. And how many of you were at the master class? By the way, hey, Deb. Okay, so who's in Silver Spring? Put your name on there because I'm using a different streaming software that doesn't let me see your name. So state your name. Tell me where you're from. Excellent. Yeah, come on in, come on in, come on in. So yeah, so last night I was on the hot seat, and I got to the hot seat's pretty cool because you share your wins and then you share what your biggest challenges are. And so that's why I wasn't on last night, because it was my time to be in the hot seat. And the beautiful thing about that is you're with a number of other entrepreneurs, and they can really bring great perspective. And sometimes you're so close to things that you can't see the forest for the trees. And so I got to talk to some folks, and they gave me some great advice. But that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about um, advice. And within that, I'm going to share just a little bit about the insight and perspective I've gained from coaching hundreds of women over these past 5 years. And I'm also going to talk about my own personal coaching experience as a business owner. This is not all about me, though. These Wealthy You Wednesday. Good evening, Stephanie. Welcome, another one of our Wealthy You community, and also going to be joining the journey for the Wealthy You Society. So, if this is your first time attending Wealthy You, I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder and CEO of Wealthy You, where we teach women primarily how to overcome their financial fears and master the art of investing so that they can secure their future. And we do that in a number of different ways. We have an inner circle, which is one-on-one coaching. And this year, we're launching our first 12-month intensive coaching program called the Wealthy You Society. And so I'm so excited about that. I'll talk about that a little later, however. And by the way, if you are in Inner Circle or Wealthy You Society, give me a shout out. Okay. So what do I want to talk about today? So tell me, how many of you are getting the newsletter? Actually, I've been writing a lot more frequently, but how many of you have been getting my tips and newsletter and are on our mailing list and are getting our tips and resources? Yes, just tell me in the comments if you are getting those tips and resources. And if you aren't, then you want to go to DeborahOwens.com, and if you click on, I have to figure out where that is now, but if you want to get on the mailing list, actually just post it right here and we'll make sure we go in and get you on the mailing list. Okay, so you are receiving it. Okay, perfect. So if you are receiving it, are you reading it? So what did the newsletter talk about today? And in fact, it just went out. Excellent. So does anybody know what the topic was about today? No. Okay. Yeah, we sent it out this morning and then realized that it didn't go out to our full mailing list, so we resent it. So you're not on it, so state your name and tell us if you want to be on it, and we'll make sure you get it. We'll have Tawana is probably on, and Stephanie Lee may be on as well, and they're on the administrative side, and they'll make sure you get on the mailing list. Okay, awesome. So today, if you didn't get the newsletter, the topic, the subject line was "Do It Scared." So when I was writing the newsletter, a couple of things came to mind that I thought was relevant. The first thing is, and this is kind of off topic, but I was having a conversation with a Wealthy You Inner Circle member. And what kind of resonated was just how many hurdles. Yes, Stephanie, I knew you were on it. The 10th anniversary of the Purse of Your Own. That's right. So I'm going to talk about that, right? But the first thing I want to start with is I'm talking with the Wealthy You private coaching client, and we're talking about all the hurdles that you have to go through that I didn't recognize around your employer-sponsored retirement plans or not. Like if you just wanted to go and open up an investment account, it can seem like you're going through a gauntlet or something, like you're on, what's that show that has all the different, like an obstacle course. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever decided, okay, I am going to invest, or, gotten up like the nerve and the courage to say, I'm doing this? Actually went and called a financial investment company, or maybe you even reached out, somebody referred you and you went on and you tried to make an investment by yourself. Tell me, yes or no, just in the comment section. Tell me yes if you've ever done that, where maybe it was your first time, or maybe you changed jobs and they said, oh, just go sign up for the 401k or the retirement plan on the website. And you did so. And what you found was at every step, it was confusing. So has that ever happened to any of you? Okay. So, the other night, Monday, I was talking about based on another newsletter, how I learned my biggest mistake taught me a great lesson. And that the lesson was, and it became my biggest blessing, the lesson was making sure that whenever I spoke with the client, that I felt fully that they understood and that they had gotten a good understanding of whatever the recommendation was. Right? So, right, extremely confusing. And so what happens so often is when we're confronted with those, obstacles, or maybe the door doesn't open as easy as it should, what do you think happens when we're met with obstacles, or we feel confused? Excellent. So you okay, you joined TD Ameritrade. Okay, perfect. So, but what happens if you are kind of like set on achieving something or opening an account, and you're met with a lot of obstacles and you're confused? What do you normally do if that happens? And I mean, it doesn't just have to be with an investment account or an investment firm or anything. When you're met with confusion and obstacles, it sometimes makes you just give up. And so in having this conversation, hey, Amelia, welcome. And so in having this conversation, it just so happened that I hadn't talked with this client. Yeah, you shut down and tune out. And so nothing happens. So anyhow, I'm having a conversation with a coaching client who I hadn't spoken to in maybe over 6 months. You throw in the towel. That's right. And so we're catching up, as you can imagine. Now I got to kind of regroup. I go back through the notes. What did we discuss? And to get up to speed. Okay, so then I say, oh, well, so then we're talking for a minute, and she's kind of going back over a number of things that we discussed. And, as many of you know who go through wealth coaching, we create a vision, we create some execution steps, and boom, it's our relationship is for me to hold you accountable and to support you as well. So anyhow, I said, okay, I tell you what, we're talking. I said, you know what, let me pick up my little notes in here and let's just go back to what our last conversation was, right? So then I kind of see her like, what? Right? Like, you going back to the notes? Because I feel like we're just revisiting the same situation, like there was no progress being made. So I go back and I say, oh yeah, well, you said you were going to do this, and that. How's that working out? Did you do X, Y, Z? And so silent, right? And so in the way Wealthy You works, there is no shame, right? And one of the reasons there's no shame is because we're all human. So it caused me to really reflect on, wow, let me just share something with you. for some reason, the reason I feel that your lack of action is fear. Okay? And whenever we attempt to do something we've never done before, how do we feel? Right? I mean, when you attempt anything that you have never done before, I don't care if it's swimming or maybe tennis or golf. Maybe, you're on a business outing and you're in your job and people want you to play golf. And so then you get up the courage, you say, I'm doing this, I'm going to be in it. But what is the feeling that you have anytime you do something new? Intimidation, right? What else? Fear causes procrastination. No doubt about it, right? Fear causes procrastination. And so a couple of things that I shared. The first thing that I shared with someone today was about my children. They whenever they asked to do something new, I would say, oh, well, if you do it and you can't quit. And so then I was recounting how when my daughter aged out of swimming, the announcer came on and said, Olivia Owens, 14 years on the Huntington Dolphins swim team. And those parents all looked at me like, what? Okay. Now, why do you think I did that? And I know I left a point, but I'm going to come back to it, right? Well, false evidence appearing real. That's right. So the reason that I did that for my kids is because when I was young and I would start things, piano, ballet lesson, modeling, you name it. I was the youngest, so my mother, was at a stage where, they had more income and they could do a lot of things. And so they allowed me to do a lot of things. But what would happen is, as soon as I felt like I got bored or I saw my friends were doing something else, I would be like, I don't want to do that anymore. And my mother would be, oh, okay, baby, you can do something. And as I got older, I saw that doesn't work out so well when you don't stick with things. Okay. So I was sharing with a client today that in order to get better at something, you got to keep at it. Right. And she said, and I don't know if Virginia's on tonight, but she said, yeah, it's kind of like, like when a baby's learning to walk and they fall down, do you just say, oh, just sit down, you keep falling and hurting yourself? No, you say, keep on it. You egg them on. And so, getting back to my children, that was the point. The point was that if you start something and you stick with it, you're going to get better at it, right? So that's one of the points. But the other point that I made was that for so many of my coaching clients, a lot of it is not aptitude, right? Like you learn how to analyze and research stocks, mutual funds, you learn how to build a portfolio. And then once you do that, you can apply it. Hey, Virginia. Yeah, because I'm talking about what we chatted about, right? Yeah, you can apply it. But then, there's like some hesitation even after learning it. And so what happens is that you got to stick with it, right? Like you and you'll get better at it. But here's the thing. As I was thinking about, it's the 10th anniversary of A Purse of Your Own. And when I started that book in 2008. Now, mind you, at the beginning of, and the way a book with a publisher where it could take 2 years from the time they agreed to that book to its printed. Not so much now because, everybody's doing self-publishing and that sort of thing. So the way a book deal works is you have an agent, you come up with the book proposal. I mean, that was the traditional way. You come up with a book proposal, you shop it around. That can take another 6 months. One of the publisher decides they're going to buy it. All you've done is give them a framework. Then you've got about 6 to 8 months to deliver the book, right? So mind you, it's in 2008. Actually, the market is up. Boom. Foreclosure crisis. Everything's heavy. Things are crashing. I'm about to write this book, A Purse of Your Own. Every woman's, an easy guide to financial security. And like this is launches. The book is finished in December, but the official launch is January of 2010. Now, if you go back to January of 2010, what you'll see is that people are mad, just like they are right now. The market went down, their funds are down. Who wants to talk about investing? And to be honest with you, in 2010, I was like, woo, I'm thinking, well, maybe, people are saying, well, maybe you shouldn't launch it. Maybe you should wait. Maybe this isn't the time. And I said, nope. And then I thought back to, if you guys remember, and you were in a master class, I thought back to the stock market, Black Monday and all those other crashes and I had been through, and I reflected, and it allowed me to say, oh no, we're going to have the same conversation we always have. And that is, the market's down. Now's the time to reposition, and there are going to be some opportunities. And so this is why you need to have the knowledge about how the financial markets work, because going back to my very early observation, wealthy people do the opposite of most people, right? Like when the market is down, this is when people are buying. Okay? And so do it scared, right? So even though I had intrepidation, the environment didn't seem right, guess what happened? Longest bull market ever after 2010, launched Wealthy You in 2015. 5 years later, women are hitting 6 and 7 figures, right? So then here we are. I'm planning this membership program, the Wealthy You Society, because now I recognize that even with the success that we've had with women, that the women who have gotten further faster were more engaged. Ongoing accountability and support. They attended every master class, even though they had already been through private coaching and, known the process. But you got to work that muscle. You got to continue to learn. You got to continue to engage. You got to be around people, right, who are like-minded. And when you start feeling that self-doubt and fear, you're looking at them and then you're saying, oh, if they can do it, you could do it. And then they're saying, girl, you can do it, right? And so, I'm thinking about, okay, so how do we help the women who've already been through this and keep them engaged so that they don't, revert back to, because remember, change is hard. Like, you've had your this level of thinking your entire life. You've never been exposed to, you don't have anybody in your family who's done it. And then all the people around you are saying, don't do that, girl. You're going to lose your money. Don't do that. Investing is like gambling. So you got all, so would you agree that in order to change those beliefs, you got to keep putting the new habit in order for it to become the habit, has to be dominant, and you have to do it over and over again. Agree or disagree with me? You guys agree with me? Like, change is hard. It's not easy. And most of us, if left to our own devices, will revert back to what we've done the most because it's the easiest to do. Would you agree with that? Right. Agree? Who agrees? Agree or disagree? Okay. So boom. Right? 10th anniversary of A Purse of Your Own. What are we going to do now to help more women get further faster and support the women who've been through it so that they don't revert back to that old way of thinking, right? So that you make the shift from income to wealth, to a wealth mindset. That wealth mindset, that difference between having a fixed mindset where, oh, I've always done it this way, everybody around me has always done it, I can't go any further, to, I can do anything. This is new. Yeah, you know what? I might lose now, but in the end, in the long run, I'm gonna win. That's a growth mindset, and that's different thinking, right? Like, the fact is, and here's what I want you guys to get, is that we've been trained to have limiting beliefs. And because that limited belief is a fixed mindset, or in financial terms, I call an income mindset, right? So we were taught to go to school, get a good job, get as many degrees as we can, and we will be rewarded, go into the workplace. So all I want to say, and you'll get a good job with a pension and you'll be able to retire. How did that work out for us? I'm just asking. Did that work for y'all? Was that the operational manual of success? Was the advice that we were given accurate for the times we're living in now? Yes or no? Yes or no in the comments. Right. Okay? It failed because it's obsolete. Are you with me? And not only is it obsolete, it really wasn't the path to financial success. What it really did, we had an income mindset. So we learned how to earn an income. That's all we focused on. But what we didn't learn was how to turn that income into wealth. Agree or disagree? Tired starting from scratch. Yikes. Right. Well, the other thing I want you to really think about, though, is, what is retirement? Right? Like, when Social Security was created, our life expectancy, we got it at 65, and our life expectancy was 65. So they really didn't anticipate that people would be living to 100. In fact, I just did uh, I'm working on a presentation for AARP, and in the AARP's research, the fastest growing age group is 100 plus. Is that crazy? Not that it's the largest, is that every year more and more people live to 100. Are you with me? So you're talking about retiring at 65 and having enough assets to last you through 35. That's a lot of money. 72 going back into the workforce, yes. But here's what I want you guys, I gotta get you guys to think a little bigger. Okay? I gotta get you all to have a growth mindset. And that growth mindset means we have to have different language. And what that language requires is we have to get out of the job mindset, right? And we have to move toward a entrepreneurial mindset. And what that entrepreneurial mindset, right, will do is you stop looking for a job and you start looking at what problems you can solve for a specific market. Are you with me? And so I'm by no means, but hold up. I am not, do not think I'm of the ilk that says, oh, everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? What I am saying that is that you need to have in your household several different streams of income. So in the event one of those opportunities go away, you have other ways of creating an income. Okay? And so at the end of the day, we all have experiences and we have talents. And so what we have to learn how to do is take that intellect, that brilliance, and that genius and turn it into wealth. And the way you do that is you create solutions, whether it be with an employer, right? That you're adding value and you're solving a problem, or even outside of that. And nothing is limiting you from doing that now, because I am talking to you on it from my office, right? In my home, and I'm streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and whatever. And if I can do that, you can too, right? And so that growth mindset, what it requires of you, it requires you to think differently. But here's the other thing I want you to understand is it's not just making money, right? Because I've sat with many of you and you have made a lot of money throughout your career, but what you didn't do was capture it and turn that money into wealth. And that is what Wealthy You is about, right? So that is the point. Do you guys get this? Agree? Do you tell me that you understand, that you agree with what I'm talking about? Because listen, what worked in the past no longer works. And I'll tell you, what I love is all the conversations with what I'm having with a lot of you around this whole crisis and the clarity that you have gained around what is really important. So, you guys tell me, what clarity have you gained? What, as a result of this coronavirus and this financial situation? Because I don't know if I want to keep calling it a crisis, because whatever you focus is on expands. And so I guess the way I like to frame it is, how are you going to look at the possibilities in this volatile time that we're in? Where are the possibilities? What are you going to do differently? So that's the question I pose to you tonight. How are you going to look at things differently and do things differently? What are you prepared to do? When you come out of here, you've been stuck in your homes. What are you doing right now to prepare so that when we come on the other side of this, you have positioned yourself to take advantage of the possibilities? Talk to me. Oh, this is good. Looking at everything that we have to see, is it serving us? Yes. Yes. In the first weeks when this thing hit, that was one of the things I said to all of you. Take out your bank account statement. Look at where are the things that you're spending on. Are they serving you? Are they needs? Are they wants? But more importantly, are they moving you toward the goal and the vision that you have for your life? Okay. Excellent. So Kimberly says, I understand fully. Excellent. Stephanie says, I agree. Kimberly, this is the first time that I have bought stocks because it was low and not doing well in the moment, knowing that long term it will do well once this crisis is over. Yes, that is what I'm talking about, Kimberly, and I'm so proud of you. When I look at, and by the way, Kimberly, thank you. I saw that you had written a client review just talking about your own personal growth, and I appreciate you. And I'm proud of you for your growth and your financial acumen and the effort that you've put in to move beyond, again, changing what you've always done. If you want something different, you can't continue to do the same thing you've always done. Awesome. Stephanie, making sure that my financial wealth is in order. Got to give you props, Stephanie. One thing I'll say for you as a coaching client, and I'm so excited that you're going to be in the Wealthy You Society, is that you took researching stock to a whole nother level. So I'm really, really proud of you as well. I'm taking a certification course that is paid for my employer. Yes, yes. And so, here's the other thing that often comes out in coaching is that you already have what you need, but you're not fully taking advantage of all the resources that you have available to you. And, so I can't tell you how many times that working with coaching clients, you have investment programs that are available to you, employee stock option programs that you're not fully taking advantage of. Sometimes you have after-tax programs that you're not taking advantage of. And if you guys were in the master class, you heard Michelle talk about, she was talking dollars and I was talking percentages, right? So it's the difference between chess and checkers. It's It's not easy, but it's possible. Again, a fixed mindset, oh, this is all I can afford, or a growth mindset, I can't afford not to. And how many of you listen to Charity? I mean, this girl was barely making over minimum wage, and I'm telling her this is how much you put in your retirement account, right? And 10 years later, promotions, new job, new house, killing it in her 401k, was able to use that to buy a home. This is what so my point is, and I didn't mean to belabor this you guys. But my point is this, is that you got to do it scared, right? Like, so case in point. So I was sharing with you guys, right? Assessing my strengths to help determine my next steps. That's exactly where you need to start. Okay. So what I was sharing with you guys was the reason why I wasn't on last night, because I was on my own coaching call, right? I have a coach and who is responsible a great deal for me launching this whole Wealthy Youth Society membership program, because I was not necessarily fully on board. Okay? Because this takes a lot of work and it takes a team to do it. And so, do I want to have a fixed or a growth mindset, right? And so I had to finally decide that the only way we could scale and reach capacity, well, I didn't have to decide. I had to have, someone who had been there and done it at a high level influence my decision. Okay? So that's one of the other reasons I'm here. But the point I want to make is, so I've been in this mastermind. This is my 3rd year. And in that time, I've seen people go from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month. You with me? But it's more than the money, it's the impact. And so what was the difference? The difference between the people that got there further, faster, same thing with coaching. They executed, right? And so all I gotta say to anybody within my voice or watching this program tonight is this: is that the only thing that is between you and the success that you want are your fears. Right? Because here's the thing. And this is why when I thought of this, when we created this program, the first thing we're going to focus on is this little noggin up here. Right? It's your mindset. That's the other thing I learned, is that the women who made the greatest shifts in wealth coaching, they did every exercise, starting with the first thing is, do you think like a wealthy woman? Comparing and contrasting how you behave, how you manage your money, to how a wealthy woman manages your money. That's one of the fundamental principles in the book, A Purse of Your Own. The next thing is writing your purse story. Every one of us formed our money beliefs by the time we were 8 years old. And if you read my book, A Purse of Your Own, you know my story. My parents separated after 33 years of marriage. and being a young woman, 18, and that influencing my, that whole wanting to have a person of my own, financial security. So that's the path that I took. Right? So when you can't change what you will not acknowledge. So the first thing I got to get you to do is to know thyself. Right? That's the first thing you have to do. Because that's the only way you can change. And then once you know yourself, then the next thing we're going to do is create your wealthy vision. So you are here. Now, where do you want to go? Right. So we're going to paint that vision. Then we're going to come back and we're going to have some very specific goals and tangible goals and steps that you're going to create for yourself. And then we're going to hold you accountable to that, right? We're going to do that in the first 21 days. It takes 21 days. Studies show it takes 21 days to change a habit. And so what you are going to learn in those 21 days is the 7 wealthy habits, right? So now that I've worked on, agree or disagree? Purchased a purse of your own, and for me and my friends, we got them in and they're headed your way. They were shipped out today, as a matter of fact. That must be Joyce or Nia. I mean, y'all buying books like crazy. Okay. So, agree or disagree that so much of your lack of financial success is in here. Because I'm amazed. Some of you have multiple degrees. You're earning money. You did everything you were supposed to do, and you're wondering why you're not further ahead. And the reason you're not further ahead is because the one thing that you needed to learn is not taught in a formal education. You can go to an MBA, a PhD, you name it, and somehow they just happen to leave out the most important thing that you needed to know, and then health. You think about that. When I don't know, but I'm aging myself, but we had consumer economics, and at least they taught us how to cook. Now you don't even learn that. So that's right. Hey, Tyrone. Now, Tyrone and I go way back. Woo! Tyrone was one of my biggest supporters when I was on WEAA. Okay, so the main thing that you need to learn in school, you didn't learn. All right. So that's why we're going to spend the first 21 days in the Wealthy You Society focused on mindset. Because some of you are just so amazing, but you won't walk into it. And part of it is because you've been trying to do it on your own, just like I tried to do it on my own. And it wasn't till I've had a bunch of business advisors, been in organizations, done this. And I finally said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to stop going to people that say they can tell me how. And I want to go to somebody who I can say they've done it. And that's what I want to do. So that's what I did. And so that's really what Wealthy You is about, right? So for some of the, a great deal of my time is spent one-on-one. And that's a great place to, women with that kind of attention, you can imagine, do get further faster, but they still need ongoing support. And so Wealthy You is basically giving you a similar experience, but for a different value, right? So the barriers to entry, we're lowering so that you can experience that same kind of success. But here's the really cool thing, is that you're going to experience it with a group of people, like-minded people who want to have the same kind of success. That's the key. I shared with you guys, yes, show me the money, right? Quiet those voices in your head. And the way you quiet those voices is with action, right? So even if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter if you learn, but you got to execute. You got to get out of your head. And even if it doesn't work, okay, and so that's the other, speaking of observation. So the other observation that I had of the most successful entrepreneurs is they don't fail and try something else. They fail and they say, why didn't that work? Okay, maybe I need to just tweak it a little bit and let's try it this way. So it's iterations. It's just like, and it's so true of investing. Not every deal is going to work out. But if you have several deals, if you're diversified, more will work out than not. That's the whole point. But, the key is getting started. You simply have to take action. And I recognize this, though. I do recognize that for so many of us, they're disappointments. We tried this. I just love it when I, in some of my calls, when they start with, and, I'm kind of engaging. Well, give me a sense of where you've been, what's been your experience, what have you tried in the past? And then you get this litany of, well, I tried this, that didn't work. I tried this, that didn't work. I'm like, whoa, okay, let's slow down. You tried this. Tell me a little bit about that. Why don't you think that worked? If you had a chance, how would you do it differently? That's what I mean. It's analysis, right? So I talked about in the Wealthy Youth Society, then we're gonna do the 21 days fast start, right? Take a week to reflect, and then we're going right into the A Purse of Your Own curriculum, which is a 10-module course. And every week you're gonna have something actionable to do. And every other week, I'm going to be doing a training. I'm going to teach you how to do something, and then I'm going to have you apply it. And then, throughout that entire time, you're going to have a private Facebook group that is also going to be a community manager, a couple of people who will be answering your questions, making sure that if you have any, technical issues or that sort of thing, that, but more importantly, it's engaging, right? Aha moments. I did this. Oh, what did I learn? Right. And we'll be in there kind of cheering you along, answering your questions. So it's that camaraderie that I know can be life-changing. I know it's been that type of camaraderie has changed my life, and I believe it can change yours too. And so that's what I'm excited about. And so we have and the other thing is, we did the first virtual master class on April the 18th. 7.5 hours. Who on here was in the master class? Tell me if you were on the master class or not, and what did you think about that? I'm not going to tell you what I think about, but who on here was in the master class? And I would love for you to weigh in. What were your takeaways from the master class? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know if you guys would hang, but you guys were 7.5 hours. You guys were there every step of the way, and it was amazing. So why am I bringing the master class up? I'm bringing the master class up because there will be 3 more of those. And if you're in the Wealthy You Society, you're going to be able to attend. Okay, great. Now I'm looking at some people who are here. Okay, Wanda, Stephanie, excellent. Yeah, so you were there, Stephanie. Yeah, I mean, it was, I tell you, I was so impressed by the Wealthy You Gold models. What did you guys think of the Wealthy You Gold models? Weren't they awesome? Yeah, they were awesome. Yeah, uh, Michelle, Charity, Dia. Yeah, Nicole, you were there. That's right. Wasn't it amazing? Yeah, so we'll do uh 3 more of those. So there'll be another one in July, another one in, I think it's July, August, September, in October, and then we'll be back at January again. And so when you're in the Wealthy You Society, you'll also get that opportunity to do that as well. So here's the deal. The Wealthy You Society launches on Friday, and you all need to be in it. And so you see, I have the link to the Wealthy You Society. It's just bit.ly W Society. Sign up, sign up, sign up. I'm just going to tell you that. And hey, if you're afraid, you're not sure, there's a 30-day back guarantee. Because if it's not what you if it's not what you expect, I mean, I don't want you to be in a and not get value from it. But I tell you, we've loaded this thing up with tremendous value, because you're going to get access to the curriculum. You have the portal. We're going to do the 21-day challenge. That is a course that's sold on its own. That's kind of do it yourself, but I'm going to be doing it with you every day. So that's going to be really cool. There are all kinds of tools in that portal. You'll get all of my books, A Purse of Your Own, Nickel and Dime Your Way to Wealth, the Purse Journal, the Purse Diary, the Investing in Volatile Times. I mean, chock full of information, but not just information. The difference about this Wealthy You Society is, and what I've learned, is execution, right? So this is designed to not, you know how we all buy stuff and then it looks great and then we don't do it. This is about doing. Deborah Owens, D-O, do. That's what everyone who's been through coaching with me will tell you, that this is about results. And if all of the women, if you go to my website, the testimonials, I started out, I didn't have this. Now I'm at 6 figures. I'm at 7 figures. If that is what you desire, then I want you to get into our first 12-month intensive, and you're getting in at as a founding member. So it's significantly less than what it will be. And if you know a friend who you think should be in here, I want you to invite them. So it launches on Friday. So you got one more day to sign up. So 8 o'clock on Friday, we're going to start this train moving. And I just want to invite you to, hey, come on in. We got some incredible women. Many of the Wealthy You coaching members will be in there as well, and have signed up because they want ongoing accountability and support. Nicole says, I was there. Glad you were there, Nicole. I was. It was extremely informative, and the models were awesome, weren't they? Ladies, speakers, and their stories that lead them to taking that step to investing was really inspiring. So let me land this plane this way. That's the whole point for the Wealthy Youth Society is that if they can do it, you can do it. And so the point, talk about results. The results for me is that my vision for every woman who is in the Wealthy Youth Society is they will be one of those Wealthy You Go models. And they will be telling their story. Now remember, this doesn't take long. So for example, Michelle started, when did she say? Last May. By the time within 3 months, she owned a home. Within 6 months, she had doubled the amount that she was putting in her 401k. Talk about a growth mindset. She talked about her side hustle with Amazon. That's the point that I'm making. You are only limited by your beliefs. And so that's the first place we're going to start. So don't allow yourself to talk yourself out of it. You got this. You can create anything that you want. The key to it is execution. All right, guys. Wow. I didn't even have time to drink my wine tonight. I hope you did. But anyway, if you're not in the Wealthy You community, that's how you can find out everything that's going on. So if you're viewing this on Facebook, look for the Wealthy You community. You only have to ask a few questions to join. That's where we hang out. If you're going to join the Wealthy You Society, you got one more day. That's the bit.ly WU Society, or you can go to DeborahOwens.com. It's on the top of the page. Just click Learn More. Hope to see you in. Hope you're going to take this ride with all of us. Many of the folks who are on this broadcast right now have already joined, and I want to make sure you're with us too. This is going to be a fun ride. Okay, guys, have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you back here at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.